How do you know how to turn your mic on and properly place it like that? I had to ask you that.
Yo, man, I grew up in church, brother.
Oh,
You
okay.
know,
All
so
right.
I was once audio video guy. So
I'm from the
got
hood,
the
so that could be looked at totally differently. That you're not a man a mic like that. Pause.
yo pause, pause, son.
All right.
That's cool.
So, keeping in tradition of what we did last week, we got questions, bro.
Let's get it.
It's 3 questions. Mine's choice, the people's choice this week.
All right.
First one.
Mm-hmm.
Men as husbands group on Facebook. I always see men complaining about how they're not having sex as often as they would like with their wives. How often should a married couple have sex?
All right.
Let
So
you get in there. I'll
married couple,
take some of my chat GPT drink.
and they're not having sex as much, right? So hopefully, you guys checked out last week was real good content because it's kind of like segues into our conversation about boundaries um, and expectations. So first of all, there is no one size fits all on this answer, or for this question. First of all, every man is different, every woman is different. So you got to first identify who you are and what you like and what you don't like. And I think, man, one thing that is a reoccurring factor in like our pod that I'm noticing with some of these questions is a lot of issues can be solved with first communication, right? So I'm gonna
But
go
how are you
back.
communicating that? Like you just one night you just pulling it aside, like you stopping the dinner, like yo, you know what? We're just not working out the way we used to.
All right.
Like yo, and you do like yo, you kind of not holding up your end of the
All
bargain.
right. So check this out, right? Check this out. So you know that you have a need and desire before you got into this relationship. So
Yeah.
you're in it now. How are you communicating with this person? Do you know, like, I know the love languages get a bad rep, and it doesn't mean that it's 100% correct.
Mhm.
But in order, like, you're in a union now, so you have to make sure that you're also meeting this person's need as well. Because I think, like, us being married for a decade, we understand that now this is a two-way street. So it's not a wham bam thank you ma'am. It's not a I get what I want. Like, you have to, if this woman's love language is acts of service, maybe you did something, at the crib. Maybe you made sure the house was clean. If you have kids, you made sure you put the kids down early. Um, because you have to have the conversations is why we're not having sex as much as you would like, right? Have you set an expectation? Is it 2 to 3 times a week? I don't know. For me, I got
That's kind of whack though, bro.
okay,
Like,
okay,
yo, here's where you lose me, right?
okay.
Some of the stuff you're saying is correct, but if I'm the type of person, if I have to schedule time to have sex, I almost don't even want to, bro. Like if I gotta be like, yo, 2 to 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
7 o'clock
Mm-hmm.
on Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
and on Thursday, yo, is this a men's league? Like, dog, like I kind of wanted to be spontaneous too.
Okay, that's understood.
Yeah.
But you can also schedule time to be spontaneous.
So you got scheduled time.
Well,
Ain't that counterproductive, dog?
Hear me out.
All right,
Right?
go ahead.
Right now, we in a community of a lot of remote workers, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people are remote workers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna be at the crib, right, and your lady knows that you're at the crib at a certain particular time, you could advise, hey, I'm gonna be at the crib at a certain particular time. You know what I want and how to proceed from that. So that can be spontaneous because you can let her know, listen, I really just want you to do something out the blue. I'm gonna be home at this period of time, and let her put the onus on her to reciprocate what you're needing. So in actuality, that's still scheduling time. It just might be a wide variety and it's still spontaneous because you don't know when it's going to happen. But we're adults now, bro. Like, we have responsibility. You can't just get it all the time when you want it. Unless, hold on. Hold on.
It's America, son. You can do what you want.
This guy wants to take it whenever. Okay.
Whoa. Stop.
Pause.
Stop.
Flag on the play. Tech. You still it.
Son.
All right. So I think it goes back to communication, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think, like, it's very important to tell your partner, your spouse, your confidant, whatever you call this person, and let them know like what gets you off, what you like, how you like it. And when things aren't going in that right direction, have like going back like a couple weeks ago, we talked about this, right? As men, we know we focus on like taking care of the bills. We protectors, we're providers. You know, we're leaders of our household, right? But when it comes to certain things like, oh, I'm not getting sex, we get frustrated, we don't want to talk about it. But at the same result, like you can sit her down like maybe once a
Okay,
week.
so let's say you sit it down, right?
Yeah.
Because you are making some fair points, but I think what you're forgetting is, or what I'm starting to see
Okay.
with a lot of males
Mm-hmm.
is maybe their drive is higher, like after the marriage or whatever happens, or the woman's sex drive kind of lowers and the man's kind of rises. So then you have a conflict of interest. Like now it's like I want to do this thing and you don't want to do it as much as I do. Talk from that point, like you're talking from a standpoint of like, yo, maybe both people still have the same drive.
So this is
I'm talking. I think this person's talking from the standpoint of I have a drive and this person doesn't have the drive.
So this is I used this is how I used to describe it, right? We used to describe it like this: men are more like microwaves, and women are like slow cookers. So whereas a man, we can go 0 to 100 real quick and be ready. Whereas a woman, they might need more mental stimulation to get them to that point, right? A woman doesn't want you all the time to go and get the wet platinum and throw it on there, right? She might want to naturally be ready for you to.
What the hell's the wet platinum, son?
Well, that's lube, bro.
What you into, son? I mean, look, you put me on. I didn't know, son.
Wet platinum is lube.
I didn't know
bro.
you had your own brand.
Nah, wet platinum is lube, B. It's not my own brand, but it's very known, right? So some women may not get as moist as others. Is
that the leading brand?
This guy, man, what's wrong with you, B? Yo, so some women might not get naturally moist. Some women do, but I guarantee you, if we did a questionnaire or took a survey, I'm pretty sure most women would naturally want to progressively be sexually aroused, by what you say to her, what you do to her. And so I believe that yes, men naturally want to maybe do it more than women on a more consistent basis. I believe women want it just as much, but I think sometimes as men, we don't continue to put forth the effort like we once before. We don't do certain things to get a woman there. We think that like as we are like savages and horn dogs all the time, maybe that woman's not there. Maybe she's stressed out from the day she's working or the kids or whatever. And I think we got to take in mind of those factors too, of the weight that woman has too. So it's maybe she wants to, but there's something there that she wants to conversate about, and it can lead there. So I know it may sound like a bunch of excuses.
I was gonna say you tied in a whole lot in there, bro.
But this is what's going to be discussed, right? If you go talk to your lady and say, "Yo, we're not having enough sex," right?
Yes.
Let's be clear. You might just went a couple rounds with her, and you want more, and she says, "I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's throbbing down there." What are you gonna say then?
What am I gonna say?
You gonna go get something else?
Am I gonna do something else?
No, you gonna get something else? Or you gonna ask her, can you at least like?
Listen, if it's like once a week,
man, this is a good convo.
Then I gotta ask a serious question, like
once a week.
Like if it's like once or twice a week, I'm telling you, yo, there's questions that's coming from men that are in groups that are dealing with once to twice a week, or maybe once or twice a month.
Okay, so in my opinion, that's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. Once a week is unacceptable. At what age? I don't care what, in either age.
You don't care what age.
Once a week, bro?
I'm just saying, bro.
Bro, 2 or 3 times a day sometimes is like, like I want. Go ahead, brother.
So I'm saying from the standpoint of, yes, there might be other elements of like, okay, you definitely have to mentally get the person ready. Right. But what if you are getting the person mentally ready? Because I'm dealing with a lot of dudes that feel like, yo, I kind of do that. Like I do all that stuff. I do with the mentally getting the person ready, but the person might feel like, hey, my drive is not there anymore, and you can't expect me to be that person anymore. So then what you do?
So once again, I'm a Christian, a believer of God and everything like that. And I there's one scripture that I can think of, right?
How you tie baby Jesus into this?
Because some people they want to hear it from different perspectives. So I'm gonna give a different perspective.
Go ahead, preach the
So
word.
it talks about the marriage bedroom is undefiled.
The who?
The marriage bedroom is undefiled.
Undefiled. That sounds like some Science of the Lab shit.
Right?
What's it mean?
So
Explain.
I segue from there to say that's a conversation that you may have to have with your wife that she's not pleasuring the right way. You might have to add some things within your marriage that pleases you in a way. And look, that goes to the unknown, how we talk about that.
Speaking of being
pleased. Because that question is going to lead into some men have had experiences that their wife can't give them. So with that being said, if I come into this marriage and I wasn't fully honest that I'm used to all these additives to my sexual pleasures, things that I never told her about, and honestly, one woman can't really please me, but I'm happily married, but within this marriage, I'm not sexually pleased. That's a whole nother conversation, right? Because those men, even if the woman gave it to them more, does that still equals them being pleased? You see what I'm talking about? So there's layers to it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right.
Because even if a woman gave me more, she gave me more of her, does that still mean I'm going to be pleased at getting it more frequently?
Or you might need to find somebody else, or you might have to.
But see,
you have to look at different options at some point. Not saying step out of your marriage,
but that okay. So the reason why I brought the scripture into it, because marriage comes from something biblical, right? That's where it was derived from. So technically, most people who believe in marriage, if you go by a biblical basis, they don't think of it as going outside and picking somebody and bringing somebody else in. So that is, before there's a union, there's individuality. And when you talk about individuality, you have to talk about you knowing, she knowing what both stimulates, at what frequency does that mean? And so I think when you talk from that perspective, it gets rather difficult, because if I didn't tell you about some of the stuff I was doing before we got together, and even if you gave it to me more, it's still not going to please me, then it's not really my spouse. It might just be me.
Someone born with greatness, others born with hatred. The Lord awaits me, but before I'm gone, I'm caking. Getting it on for kids, make a child, all the kids, just witnesses. Random straight shots hit the innocent. No one